Hey everyone, it's Nick with Us versus Herd. We're at the halfway mark at the time of this video of 2022. It's been a crazy year so far, and I just kind of want to do like a recap and kind of share what's been working for me, what hasn't been working for me, like what the adjustments I have had to make in this market, because I mean this market has been very tiresome, very grueling. And I mean, honestly, it's exhausting. Like day in, day out, we have huge swings, and all I'm trying to do is protect my capital, make a little bit of money on it, and hopefully everything works out. And honestly, like this is probably the hardest market that I've ever had to trade. And the thing is, like, we've all like traded downturns, especially like down in the pandemic and all that, but that turned around so quickly. We're now like on month 6 of this downturn. It doesn't look like there's any end in sight, and a lot of people, there's still a lot of buy the dippers, right? And the buy the dippers are getting it handed to them right now. And you could say, oh, bear markets only go 20% or 30% or 40%. It's good to add or whatever. But for me, like, I'm not going to be buying any stock until this whole thing starts turning around, right? Until the data starts turning around. Right now, I think we're at the forefront. I do expect like there's going to be more layoffs and everything like that going to happen as tightening occurs later this year. I think this winter it's going to be a tough fall and winter. Okay, at least that's my opinion. I hope it doesn't go that way. I mean, I pray that we have a V-shaped recovery and everything's back to normal. Everyone keeps their jobs and everything's gonna be okay. But I'm gonna protect myself, protect my capital, protect my family, protect what I'm doing here as an investor, as a trader. But I wanted to kind of share with you, what's been working and in this volatility. And it took me like, it was kind of frustrating for like 3 months in a row until like the last 2 months ago. For like 3 months in a row, I was like break even. I would be making money, then I'm losing money, then I'm making money, and at the end of the month I'm like break even. And I'm like, man, I mean, I guess I'm happy to break even, but I'm putting in a lot of effort to break even. You could say like, oh, why even trade? And at the end of the day, like, I want to trade this because I am gaining valuable experience in my younger years here. Sure, I want to be the old man that's, has seen it all, has been through a lot of markets, and I'm sure like, there's going to be in our lifetimes crazy things that happen, that have already happened and will happen in the future. But I want to get my reps in now and be like, okay, I remember that time in 2022. I remember that time in 2020. I remember that time in 2015. I remember that time when I was trading what was actually happening, and that way I can reflect on that, because that's how I get better. For me, I can look at charts all day, but I learn from getting burnt. I learn from experiences. I learn from everything that is going on here. But the winning strategy that's been really helping me work here is getting me to profitability right now. Last couple of months been actually pretty good, but for 3 months in a row is break even. So when you're like losing constantly or break even constantly, like, you have to pivot, you have to change something. So for me, I was like, okay, what can I do? And during the pandemic, I actually started trading futures pretty heavily, and I started trading futures heavily again this year, where I'm normally, it's kind of tricky with futures because they're highly leveraged. Volatility is crazy, a lot of points per tick, and I prefer to trade the Nasdaq over the S&P futures. So my strategy right now is to day trade or intraday futures, and then I swing options overnight or for a week or two, because that seems to be a better play for me versus like day trading options. For me right now has been very hard, because you're worried about your theta, you're worried about IV, and taking a look at VIX here, we're not used to trading VIX like in these ranges here. And if you kind of look here, normally, let's go back a couple of years. This is just the last year, right? So let's go back last 5 years. I mean, normally we're looking at VIX, we're trading around 15 or 20, right? Now we are constantly trading between 25 and 30 pretty aggressively. And if you even go back, this is obviously the pandemic and all that, but even after the pandemic, we were trading. So we got our practice in right in here. We got our practice in, but like during normal circumstances, we're at 15, 20. Sometimes we'll dip down to even like 10 when volatility is super low. And back here was like we had a epic bull run 2017. It went to single digits. I mean, it was crazy. But like when the market changes like this, I mean, we're in this, like, this is the 1-year chart on the VIX, and so we're expected to have some pretty heavy volatility still. I mean, even though things are kind of calm right now today, we did have a major dip and then an epic rip to the upside today. But I mean, if you look here, what I'm looking at is one thing that doesn't make me feel good is, this is the last 4 months, right? It bottomed here, it bottomed here, it bottomed here, it bottomed here, where, it's kind of gradually getting higher over the last 4 months, which is, it's kind of scary, kind of prepping for, like I've been saying, for like this fall/winter. Like, is this thing, I mean, they've been doing a pretty good job holding it down below 35, 40. But, I mean, at what point are the wheels going to fall off? And so for me, when I have this amount of uncertainty, like when we have certainty, we have a good direction, we know we're going up, we know we're going down, but even if we're going down right now, I mean, like if I pull the NASDAQ right now, you're like, oh, this is an easy trade. This is an easy trade. Just, you just short every rip. But when you're trading real money and you're leveraged a position and you're going into this, I mean, even today, I mean, NASDAQ swung, let's say, from 11.5 down to 11.3, back up to 11.6. I mean, you can't hold this without getting ripped, right? So you can short this, and then what are you gonna do? You're gonna close this. You're not gonna close this. You're gonna get stopped out. You're gonna go long. You're gonna get stopped out again. I mean, the NASDAQ has seen, like, basically in the last few days here, 1,000-point range, and for me, like, it's not easy mentally to trade that or try to figure out where we're going, because honestly, like, we've been down so much, we could rip to the upside like we're showing now. We were down so much today, rip to the upside. We went up, I wouldn't say super high, but we went up pretty big on the NASDAQ here the other day, and then we freaking got demolished. So, like, for me, what's been making the most sense and what's been keeping me out of trouble is day trading futures, scalping futures, and honestly, like before, like when VIX is lower, like 20, 22, somewhere around there, I was actually trading the E-minis. Now with VIX at like 30, 28, I'm trading the micros, the micro contracts, right? And the reason why is I want to protect myself from myself, where like in 1 minute, NASDAQ could move 40 points. And if you're trading the E-minis, that could be a lot. And I was before we started getting crazy again, I was trading 4 to 5 E-minis. Now I'm trading 4 to 5 micros, right? So I've lowered my size down 90%. I took myself way down. I took my size down 90% because I don't want to get ripped a new one. I would rather just be safe. And you don't need that much to make that much money, or the same money you were making before. Before, you had to have a little bit more leverage. You had to put a little bit more capital up. Now you don't, because we have the movements are a lot better. So you kind of have to start playing with it. And once I started, playing with that and taking my risk down, allowing my positions to be able to breathe a little bit without getting stopped out, that's when I started making money in the market. And that's when I started, really started to focus on trading futures intraday. And then to keep me out of trouble, to stop trading, I've basically been trading the first hour or two of futures. And then after that, so I don't overtrade, I'll look for some swing trades in the afternoon for options. But in this market, you have to be super, super disciplined to keep yourself out of trouble, because the more you trade, the more they try to take from you. Because, I mean, at this point in time, I mean, if we look at the market this afternoon, it's dicey. Like, do you want to go long here? Do you want to go short here? Like, what do you want to do? I'll pull up the 15-minute chart so you can kind of see. It's like, okay, this looks like normally this chart looks like it would be like, okay, we're gonna explode off. We got a bullish pennant building here. We got a bull flag building here. Whatever. But honestly, anything could happen. This thing in the last hour could tank all the way back down to the lows. I mean, we've seen it time and time again where bull pennants, bull flags are failing. And so I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to short it because this could skyrocket, but I also don't want to, go long it because this thing could tank. So the best thing for me to preserve my capital is to just take it easy. And that's really what I've been doing, in the markets. And if you want to follow along, if you want to learn how to trade, if you're not sure how to trade, first link in the description, there's a $50 promo code for the UVH Academy that goes over, pretty much all this and how to trade and what I've been doing and how I make money in the markets. If you watch this video to the end, comment, watch the end. As always, stay safe, stay green. It's us versus herd.